Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition, a playoff edition of Inside Burrell Football. This is Mike Pavlik. Mike Choma will be along later. Well, going into Friday night's game against Deer Lakes on senior night, the Bucs needed two things to happen to get into the playoffs. One was in their control. The other one was not in their control. The thing they could control was to beat Deer Lakes, and they did do that, 48-41 with a stunning second-half comeback. The thing they couldn't control was the WPIAL football committee choosing them to make the playoffs on a wild card basis, and that too did happen. So both things happened. The Bucs are in the playoffs and will be playing at North Catholic on Friday night. The Bucs trailed at 21-14 at halftime. The offense was dormant in the first half. Both of their scores were on Antonio Perkins returning kicks, but in the second half, everything turned around. 48-41, the final, teams combining for 89 points and 814 total yards in this game, and Antonio Perkins had a game for the ages. He scored on the two returns, as we talk about, but he also broke two school records. 330 yards rushing on the day, broke the record that was previously held by Brock White. He scored 7 touchdowns in the game, which broke the record of 6, which was shared by Cole Bush and Devin Beatty. Both of those records wiped off the board. We mentioned the returns, a 37-yard punt return, a 92-yard kickoff return, all 7 touchdowns. The Bucs pull it out at the end, 48-41. He had a big interception, too. We'll talk about that later. So the Bucs are back in after a one-year hiatus. They're looking for their first playoff win since 2005. Now, as far as broadcast stuff goes here, Mike and I, being the road team, the home team kind of gets first crack at things, and North Catholic will be showing it. The game will be available through the Trib. You can go through the Trib and find it on their broadcast and find out where you'll be able to find the broadcast. We will also, on each of our social media, mine at MiloP613 on Twitter, X, whichever, and Mike Choma on Facebook. And we'll be also updating the game as it goes along to keep you guys with more of a Burrell-centric type of updates on what's going on in the game. So all those things, well, I'll remind you about that later on before we get out of here. All right, when we come back, we're going to have Antonio Perkins join us and Coach Dom Girardi. We'll have those guys right after this.
Here's the man himself, the record setter, Antonio Perkins. 7 touchdowns in the game, 360 yards. Let's talk about the touchdowns first. You know, you ran one back on a punt return. 37 yards was about 67 by the time you circled around a few times. And then you returned a 92-yard kickoff. You didn't start the season returning. When did that happen and why?
Maybe during like conference play, the coaches discussed it and they asked me if I wanted to do it, and I told them, of course, whatever I could do to help the team.
And you sure did. Like I said, you made for that moment where you get an open field, anything can happen, and 2 touchdowns, and it sure did. Now, the other record you said, 360 yards. You were close to one time. You got it this time. And again, Brock White made that record rest in peace. And again, you said it, records are made to be broken. But in the second half, you had 303 yards. Were there any halftime adjustments made?
Yeah, there was a couple of different blocking schemes and stuff. But our coaches told us to keep trusting the process, and it worked out.
It sure did. He kind of like wore him down, to be honest with you. Now, again, talk about the coaches. Coach Girardi played quarterback in high school. He's now your coach. Does it help having a quarterback be your head coach?
Yes, sir. Yes, it sure does. He helps with a whole bunch of technical stuff, I would say. Like a lot of footwork and different ways to do stuff and properly doing things.
And getting better and better. By the way, you hit a big pass in that game. Where did that call come from? Right in the fourth quarter.
Coach asked me if I wanted to do it, and I told him, yeah.
And boy, that turned the whole game around for us, got us to drain the clock at the end, and we got the big win. Now, you've had a lot of accolades this week. You've been nominated for Mr. Football in Pennsylvania twice now. The Varsity Extra podcast, Mike White, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette hosts that. They had you as the shining star. You're Player of the Week at the Valley News Dispatch this week. Way back in August, did you think anything like this could happen?
I mean, I don't know. Not necessarily. I knew I could do big things if I kept working hard and trusting my coaches, trusting my teammates to help me get better, and I don't know, just putting in some hard work.
hard work does pay off. Well, we said that. And let's talk a little bit about your offensive line. They've done a great job for you.
Yes, sir. I want to shout out Logan Heekins, Aiden Kuhn, Jacob Taylor, Ryan Resevage. Yes, my bad. Weston Brony, and I can't forget Big Joe and Martin. and I want to shout out my wide receivers for getting good blocks on the perimeter too.
Yeah, downfield we saw Zach Kudre had a key block in one of those touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Sure.
Now, not only did you play offense, you played defense, and you had a big interception in the third quarter to finally stop Deer Lakes from scoring. You play safety. It's kind of like the quarterback of the defense. Does that help you on offense?
It does. It does, I would say. It helps you make better reads, and on defense, you can. I feel like I can read the quarterback a little easier.
So again, great job. And again, we started in August. We had a 2-win team last year. We made the playoffs this year. What do you think the key was that turned things around here?
Weight room, X's and O's. Our coaches did a great job this year. They did a great job just getting us prepared.
Now we have a tough game this week against North Catholic, first playoff game. What do you anticipate?
I'm anticipating a W.
There you go. Well, let's bring it home. I'll meet you at the flagpole.
Yes, sir.
Great job this year, Antonio.
Thank you.
Well, you did it. I met you at the flagpole last week. You made the playoffs. Again, win 2 games last year, come into the new coaching staff this year, make the playoffs. What do you think the key was this year, Coach?
The key, I think, was just as much consistency, providing as much consistency as we could to the players and getting them acclimated to everything that we wanted to do. And that started a long time ago. That started way back in the winter with the weight room, and then in the spring, and then the summer workouts. And so, I told them that. I was really happy for them, happy for all the kids that they got to experience that, and that was the payoff for all that hard work that started all the way back in the wintertime.
You're speaking of hard work, I just said to you earlier, you're on day 76 of 77 days of work in a row. The coaching staff works 7 days a week. Tell us what a typical week is for you guys.
I didn't know it was that many days, but you don't keep track, right? I always kind of start the thought process on actually Saturday. So, you have the game and everything. So Saturday we'll come up, we'll watch film with the kids to review what we did well, what we need to work on, usually get them a quick lift. And then a lot of coaches will hang around the office and we'll put the most recent game of our next opponent on and kind of watch that, not necessarily in fast forward, but just kind of one time through quickly, just to hash some things out. Spitball ideas, see what we think. And then, most of the coaches will find different ways to still spend time with their family, do different things over the course of the weekend, but also watch film, get the work in that you have to do. And then we'll actually meet as a staff at my house Sunday evening. And depending on who you're playing and how things are going, that can be, maybe as short as 2.5 hours or as long as 3.5, 4 hours. You just don't know. But then, there's a lot of preparation that goes into the practices, making sure everything is scripted and it's controlled, right? So you want to make sure you're running the plays that you want, or defensively, you want to make sure you're getting the looks that you want. And you don't want to just throw everything at the kids at once. You kind of piece it along throughout the week. So we do that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is kind of our big review day, and then we're ready Friday. So yeah, there is a lot of work, but it's enjoyable. And
God forbid you're the JV coach, because you got to coach a game on Saturday too. We had those guys out there doing that. Now, we stood in this room with you day one when you asked the seniors, how are you going to be remembered? And you wanted them to lay the cornerstone, and they did that. What does this mean to the program?
Well, we talked a couple weeks back, and when we knew, hey guys, listen, we have more Fridays behind us than we have in front of us, regardless of how things pan out. This is week 7, 8, whatever it is. And you only have so many left. So we said, listen, your legacy, what do you want your legacy to be? But more importantly, you're steering that ship for us. And it's your job to point that thing in the right direction, because then eventually you have to let go. And that's where the juniors and the sophomores take over. But you're the ones who are going to point it. And I think with, winning 4 games this year, winning 3 of our last 5, winning record at home, getting into the playoffs, I think that when they look back, not only do they have the great memories of the victory circle and beating Deer Lakes last week like they did, they can look back and say, hey, you know what, we pointed that ship in the right direction before we let go of it.
and we hope it continues Friday night. Tough task at hand. North Catholic, you're going up there. They score 44 points a game. What are we going to do to slow them down?
Well, they have a prolific passing offense there. We'll see. You never know. Hopefully Mother Nature will help with a little bit with that. But believe me, listen, there's been many, many times that our offense, in different points and times at different places I've been, has relied on the pass, and you always sweat it out whenever you know there might be rain, and it makes things difficult. So it'd be nice to get one of those come around the other way. But other than that, just give the kids some different looks, try to get some pressure, and play good, sound defense.
40-mile-an-hour winds wouldn't hurt either, right?
I'll take that.
Joe Flesky, 2 times WPL passing leader. And again, what does he look like to you? Do they like to go deep? Do they like to keep it short? What do they do?
Well, first of all, I think I read somewhere that he's the first and only time that's happened that you have the WPIL passing leader back-to-back. So that's impressive, or at least maybe since the 80s. I don't know. But he gets the ball out quick. He has a nice quick release. They'll spread it around, and when you throw the ball as much as they do, they will throw deep. But they have a lot of good short and intermediate passes. It's a very timing, structured offense. So, again, we're going to try to do some things to hopefully disrupt that, hopefully disrupt him. It'll be a tall task, but I think our kids are up for it.
Well, again, congratulations to you, everybody associated with the program. Everybody put out their hands and pulled together. And, again, been a great year. Thanks to you for letting us be part of it.
Well, and I want to thank you. I want to thank Mike Pavlik. When I had this idea and we started putting things together for the program, just knowing the great experience that the kids would have with opportunities like this, having this show, having the games televised, I knew that would be a great experience for them. So I thank you guys as well.
Well, go get them Friday night.
Thanks. Go Bucks.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Burrell Football. Brought to you by the Boucher Agency. The Boucher name has been synonymous with serving the people of the AK Valley for over 70 years, and they're uniquely qualified to help you choose home and auto insurance that protects what matters most, your family. The Bouchers are independent agents. That gives them the flexibility to work with all the leading companies in the industry to find new ways to save on home and auto insurance. Call your hometown independent insurance agents, John and Nick Boucher, 724-224-4300, and choose the coverage that's right for your family. And as always, their Natrona Heights office is open on Saturdays for your convenience. Remember, in the AK Valley, you're in good hands with the Boucher Agency on your side. All right, when we come back, we'll preview North Catholic and preview the playoff game Friday night right after this. Welcome back to Inside Burrell Football. I want to thank Antonio Perkins and Coach Girardi for stopping by, and really thank Coach Girardi for stopping by every show all season. It's been a pleasure to have him, and we do appreciate him helping us out as we move along through this. Well, the North Catholic Trojans come in. They will be the number 5 seed. The Bucks will be number 12. The winner will play Elizabeth Forward. Trojans under third-year coach Chris Rizzo making their 3rd straight trip to the playoffs under him. They were 7-3 this year. They finished 3rd in the very tough Western Hills Conference. Chris was the 4-year head coach at Ironwood High School in Glendale, Arizona. How do you get there from Bethel Park? I don't have any idea, but Chris was the man there, and he moves his way across the country from Bethel Park to college and then back to North Catholic, where he has taken over. They won their first 5 games. They've lost 3 of their last 5, but they're a tough scoring team, as you heard the dean mention with Coach Girardi. 44 points a game. They're the number 1 scoring team in the conference and number 7 in the WPIAL. So they're going to be tough, and it's all because of their everything senior quarterback, Joey Filitsky. You may remember his dad from the 80s. I know I sure do. Was a great quarterback at Central Catholic back then. Joey, the passing leader for the 2nd consecutive season, and he did it so well. He got 7 more yards this year than he did last. They come off a big win, very similar to the Burrell win. They beat Hopewell 44-36. They trail going into the 4th quarter. Filitsky threw for 312 and 3 touchdowns in the game, including 2 4th-quarter touchdowns to complete their big comeback. So again, the game will be tomorrow night at Stonefield. There was some question about that, Lieutenant J.C. Stonefield at North Park. So you want to get there for that. Kickoff is 7 o'clock. And once again, we will not have the game for you, but the game will be available through the Trib Live website. Go there. The North Catholic crew, the home team, will be handling that, and we wish them luck and hope that they have their 1 game, and Burrell will continue on to play Elizabeth Forward next week. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of Inside Burrell Football. Again, thanks to Antonio Perkins and Coach Girardi, and as always, thanks to the Dean, Mike Choma. So until we meet you next time, this is Mike Pavlik saying so long, everybody.